we in fact do help, we have a right to look to them once in a while to be a little reasonable.
A little bit, yeah.
They've been a hell of a lot better, I think, in the last...
do you really?
3 weeks, yes, sir. Definitely.
Why is that? Why do you think that? Because of this?
Oh, I think this is a good part of it. And I think that they've gotten the signals, and they're just a little nervous. There's enough going on. Of course, with ABC, the CATV thing, when you called Goldenson, God, that just did it. 20 minutes later, his lawyers called me right after your call and said how thrilled he was, how appreciative, and... But I think all three of them have improved just a mite. We also have an answer going to Common Cause's program this week.
Oh, I heard about that.
And it's just splendid. Dolph Droge is on, and he is just superb. And they've given us Wednesday night here in Washington at 8:30, which is excellent time.
Great.
That's going around the country. So we're getting a little bit.
That's right. Get our side out.
We're getting more of it out. I feel it's. You see it in little ways, and you see it with these kids who come in, and the more enthusiasm that they have now is a reflection of.
Another thing too about our side, the fact that the networks have been playing so heavily the negative stuff makes our side new, and therefore news.
Exactly.
And therefore people say, well, maybe there is another side. You know, there's always these things. There's always a counteraction to these things.
Yes.
And the networks they've so overplayed the other side. You know, that the immoral war and all that bullshit. You know what I mean?
Well, it builds the credibility of our side. Is anybody who overplays their hand as much as they have, it's bound to have a reaction the other way.
Right.
Scully has had good effect in talking with.
Good.
He's worked in on a quiet basis a number of news items he's been able to get.
He likes to do it too,
and he does it well. He sells them well.
Well, he's believable. We'll always put him on things he can be believed on.
That's right.
Okay.
Fine, sir. Thank you, Mr. President.
Please.
Ziegler, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to have a little 15-minute chat with Rockefeller before this meeting. You think you want to have people take a picture of it?
I don't think we need it today, Mr. President.
I'm thinking of for purposes of New York. I mean, it's having snubbed Lindsay and so forth. I mean, I'm just thinking of see what I mean?
Okay, fine. Yes, sir.
The idea of just being in good relations with the governor is bad.
Right.
I'll talk to him, see if he feels it's a good idea.
Will you do it in the EOB?
No. I'm in the Oval Office.
I see.
No.
Yes, sir.
We just have him pop in, and the governor and I have been chatting about federal.
Fine, before the foreign intelligence.
Yeah, federal state relations.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Yes.
Revenue sharing, federal state relations. See.
Right. Yes, sir.
Sort of thing. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Judge Homer Ferguson, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Hello.
Judge Ferguson for you, sir.
Hello.
Richard?
Yes, how are you?
Homer Ferguson.
Yes, sir, Homer, how are you?
Bother you?
That's all right. It's
One
all right.
thing, I put the call in after you'd made that talk the other night to tell you how excellent it was.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
And,
thank you,
all
yes.
these to the press, I think, have been great.
Well, thank you, thank you.
And now, I wanted to, again, call your attention to Cobb's as a judge.
Oh, yes, the man you left your...
Virginia.
Yes.
He's an excellent lawyer, as I explained to you.
Right.
If you want any further news, I'd be very glad to do it.
Right. I got it, and in fact, I've talked to Mitchell about it, too.
Yeah, now and I know that Byrd has endorsed them and Holcomb has endorsed them. Now, another thing is, I'm serving as a senior judge. You know, the law provides for that.
Yes, sir.
And I wanted you to know that, and it's perfectly all right. I'll continue till your new man goes on.
Oh, great, good,
So
good.
that,
And I'll have you talked to Mitchell yourself about the other fellow?
oh, should I do that?
I wish you would.
I'll do it.
Give John a call, John Mitchell, and just say that you and I were chatting, and I asked you to call him about it.
Yeah, I'll do
and
that.
because he then when he comes in, I won't see him. So I'm going out to Tulsa in the morning, but I won't see him.
I'll
just get Mitchell to talk.
I'll see you Monday then.
Swell.
Now, I'm awfully sorry to bother you.
You didn't bother me. That's all right.
But I did want you to know that as far as me continuing as a senior judge, it was perfectly all right.
Great. Well, I appreciate that, and
as I told you, I hope that someday, that soon, after I'm not a senior judge, that I might fit in somewhere else.
Right. Well, you're still full of beans.
Well,
that's right.
I fear retirement.
Yeah, I don't blame you a bit. I don't blame. When people get to the point they don't have anything left, they don't fear it. When you got
I know
something
that
left.
you and I are eager to work, and therefore I want you to know that.
Good.
So a senior judge just fits in fine.
Good.
All right,
okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes.
Mr. Haldeman, please. Hello?
Yes, sir.
I was wondering if, just working on a little scheme here, if we could maybe get Agnew to if we could name Harlow to that delegation, and then have him go on around with him. I have in mind the fact that,
It's a good idea.
You see what I mean?
I sure do.
I wondered if you would call Harlow and tell him that we'd like to do it, and then, that I'd like to name him to the delegation, and then see if he thinks how he wants to approach it with the vice presidency. See, he is choosing he's naming Scott and McGee, but I can name anybody I want, and I could send Bryce very well. And I think Agnew should be delighted. And then if he go on around with him, he can, talk to him and get his confidence about a lot of things. Want to follow up on it?
Sure will.
Fine.
That's a darn good idea.
Okay.
You just kind of wonder turning him loose.
Yeah, right now, I think he needs a little somebody to sort of confide in. But, do you mind checking with Bryce?
No, I'd be glad to.
Well, all right, fine.
Right.
Yes, please.
Miss Woods, please.
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Hello?
Rose?
Yes, sir.
Are you home?
Yes, I
Yeah.
just came home.
I was, I think maybe I want to do a text not very long on this dedication tomorrow. And it can be done in the morning. I can have it there around 8:30.
Okay, is it the one they sent over to you? Or?
No, I'm cutting that down. Yeah, they sent me a very long text, but did you type that or what?
No, I saw it, and I started it, and I realized that you would never give that.
It's too long, yeah. Well, I'm going to cut it.
Too long and too dull, most of it.
Yeah. So I'm going to cut most of it. I'm going to cut it down, but I want to take the first part and the last part and put it out. So,
Well, I'll be back over there in a few minutes, because Ron will have to run it tonight. His people will have to run it.
I see, yeah.
Because you leave at 9:30, I think.
9:30, yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm having breakfast with Agnew in the morning at 8:30. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll have it ready. I'll work on it to have it ready in a half hour.
Okay.
All right, fine.
All right, fine.
Please.
Dr. Kissinger, please.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Erhlichman, please.
Mr. Erhlichman?
Yeah.
Mr. President,
Yeah.
Dr. Kissinger, I have a number where he's supposed to be. Should I go ahead and try to get him?
Oh, he's out, is he? Well, if it's convenient, yes.
I'll try, sir, and I'll get Mr. Erhlichman for you.
Yeah.
Mr. Erhlichman, Mr. President.
Hello.
How'd you get along with Connolly?
Oh, fine. We had about an hour and 45 minutes. George was out of town, but Pete Peterson went over.
Yeah.
And we talked all around short-term problems and then long-term problems.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was very helpful.
Does he have any ideas about the short-term problems?
He
That's the main thing now.
he was skeptical of any short-term reaction. We have come up with one idea that I've got my people working on for a response to the veto problem on public service jobs.
Right.
And that is to lift the public service jobs section right out of H.R. 1, which is something that we've already approved and advocated, and put it in a separate bill and send it up to the Hill with a message the same day that you veto the other one.
What does that provide?
Well, it actually provides more jobs. It provides something like 400,000 is the estimate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, statistically, that's not going to make a whole lot of difference.
You mean in the
rate? In the rate.
But it shows action.
It shows action, and it shows commitment to the concept.
And also the fact that we're trying to do more than they...
That's right.
That's what I want to do, is to say this provides not enough, and we want more. And
well,
that we need to act specifically on this problem.
This you could do and still be faithful to everything that you've done up till now.
Yeah.
Because it would simply be Wilbur Mill's own the language that he and the committee have already approved, and on which they've already had hearings.
Right.
So we could get speedy action.
Yeah.
And it has the advantage then of going into effect sooner than the provisions of H.R. 1, which would be a year delayed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, our budget friends are going to have trouble with that because it means we'll be spending some of the money in fiscal 72 instead of 73.
Doesn't matter.
We'll find the money someplace else.
It doesn't matter in 73.
Right.
72 is the time to spend it. 73 will be too late.
Well, I have them working on this. I don't know what technical problems there might be in it, but I think it's, in concept, the best thing that we're able to come up with so far. And both Peterson and Connolly seem to think that it was good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we talked quite a lot about goals, about problems of tax increase,
right?
About picking a villain.
Right.
Looks to us on very short consideration, like maybe the unions are the target.
Mm-hmm.
And it was quite a ramble. As a matter of fact, we went all over the map.
That's all right. We'll do a little thinking about it, and then we can.
Some of it will be reflected in the presentation that we make to the Domestic Council on Tuesday.
Right.
But it'll be veiled and cut quite a bit.
Right.
I'm going to try and give them a pretty, give quite a bit of time for just free discussion.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, in terms of the economic thing generally, while it is on sort of a plateau, the unemployment thing, it is really not a significant thing as of this point. You know what I mean?
That's true.
You can't take 0.1% and say, well, that's a lot. Of course, they say it's the highest in 9 years. Well, the way you should say the highest since Kennedy.
Connolly's feeling is that we ought to simply drum fire home the highest employment figures. A lot of people were employed. A lot of new people were employed. Nobody was laid off.
Yeah.
And that it was a matter of simply unprecedented numbers coming into the market.
Mm-hmm.
And just keep pounding on that. He said, really, apart from public service jobs, your alternatives are all very profound in terms of controls and so on.
And very bad. Yeah.
And he just felt strongly that we shouldn't be stampeded at this point.
Not at this point. Okay, fine.
There is one question that came up this afternoon with regard to Pete's presentation to the Congress.
Mm-hmm.
When he puts that show on for the Congress, that is going to pretty much cast the die in terms of
quotas.
Well, something. Economic war of some kind or other, because the congressmen are only going to read the back of the black bold type.
Yeah.
And I just raised the question without knowing the answer as to whether we're really satisfied that we've got to take that jump right now and that we're ready to take it.
You mean you wonder whether we ought to do it to the Congress? No?
I just wonder whether Pete has really had a chance to think through. He's got an excellent statement of the problem.
Did you raise that with him?
Well, I will tomorrow.
I think you better, but we haven't invited him yet, have we?
I think so, but it isn't irretrievable.
Mm-hmm. We could postpone it, yeah.
Oh, sure.
I think we might.
I just have a little concern about whether we aren't taking the first step of a long journey without knowing where we're going here.
Yeah, and what we're going to do about it.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to have lunch with him tomorrow, and I'll talk to him about it.
Fine. Okay, John. All right. Thank you. Yeah.
Dr. Kissinger.
Yeah. Henry, I was thinking on that matter of the conversation you had with Lovestone.
Yeah.
That the real emphasis should be that the idea that we're not really changing the thing. We're just putting this in the general thing. You know what I mean? That you see what I mean? If we could, if you put it in terms of specifics, specific waiving of the thing for this or that. I don't know, but I when you talk to him again, you might the thing you mentioned to me earlier that
I frankly, unfortunately, didn't discover that formula until after I had talked to Lovestone.
Yeah.
But I will explain to him how that will operate.
Yeah. Explain to him in the morning that what we are thinking about is not changing it with regard to specific items or anything of that sort of thing, but just making this part of which we have in other areas, don't we?
Oh, yes. And in fact, it can be enforced only, as I said, if one has specific licenses for each case.
Yeah.
And we can just avoid that.
Yeah. In other words, announce it and then give the licenses or not. You mean? Is that what you mean?
No. If you make a general license, then the individual items of shipping can't be controlled.
Yeah. I get your point. Well, that's what we want to do, a general license for grains only.
Exactly.
And I'd point that out, that that's what we have in mind, to avoid congressional pressures to do more than that, see?
Right.
And to attack the whole thing.
Right.
I think if you tell him
that... But he understood it anyway, Mr. President. Yeah. He's a tough pro.
Well, you could tell him that in the morning, that that's what we have in mind.
And his intention is to be helpful.
Sure. Okay, fine, Henry.
And, I'll talk to you in the morning about it. I've now gotten more reports from Cambodia, and these, unfortunately, the press was telling the truth, and Abrams wasn't again.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You mean we took a banging, huh?
Yeah.
How bad is it?
Well, it's pretty bad. It was a lousy outfit. They obviously ran.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst of it is, for 3 months, Haig and I have been sending telegrams out there. We can't bother you with every division.
Yeah. Well, is it bad in terms of the long range or the short range?
No, not in terms of the long range, but we ought to look at this whole Abrams problem again.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the story is virtually over now, don't you?
The story is over. I mean, and actually...
And it's confused.
In a confused way.
Mm-hmm. But what about this? The reports about casualties inflicted and so forth. Did we inflict a lot or not? You don't know.
I don't know.
Never can tell.
Let me put it this way: they are out of proportion to the number of weapons we captured.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And
well, I think most of it's bombing. That's what they're really talking
So
about.
it's hard to know.
Mm-hmm.
They did inflict some heavy casualties, and the other side hasn't pursued, so this suggests that they too took heavy losses.
Right. Okay. Well, that's...
But I'll take care of this.
I'll have to take care of the Abrams thing is a problem, isn't it, though?
It's a problem.
He and his staff, too, must be giving us a bunch of jazz.
Yeah, they're pretty lousy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right.
Haig, what you say?
Well, Haig tells me he has a tendency always to have second raters around him.
Well, I don't know how we can shake it up much now, can we?
No.
Can't change him now, can
we? Not at the lower levels.
No. I don't know whether you can shake him up. That's the point. No, you could.
That's the thing that one might take a look at.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. That'd be pretty drastic, wouldn't it, at this point?
It'd be pretty drastic.
I mean, the psychological effect of that could be... Unless he did it for health reasons.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that's not anything that requires an immediate decision. That can depend on some of the...
But you do not see a follow-up on their part, at least.
No. Absolutely not.
So it was just one of those things, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right, Mr. President.
Yes, please.
Mrs. Rogers, please. Wife of the Secretary of State.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Hello.
Mr. President, I found Mrs. Rogers is up at Cornell University back late this afternoon, but I do have a number if you'd like me to reach her there.
You can reach her there. Get me Mr. Fitzsimmons, the head of the Teamsters Union, please.
Yes, sir. Did you say do not?
Yeah, get both.
Fine. Thank you.
He said the bigger build-up occurred.
Yes, sir?
Did you call?
Yeah, I have Mr. Fitzsimmons, sir. I reached him here in Washington.
Yeah.
President.
Hello?
Hello.
Mr. President, I wanted to congratulate you.
Well, thank you, Mr. President.
I followed it in the papers, and apparently everything went very well. I kind of feel I had a prelude because it seemed to me you thought you were going to win when you were in my office here.
Yes, I had the same feeling. I'm sure that you have right now.
How do the members feel generally? Are they pretty good spirits?
Great.
Good.
Had I would say at least 300 wires.
Wonderful.
Of congratulations and whatnot.
Good.
Well, Mr. President, it's a great honor to be called.
Well, you know that you're now a member of an exclusive club. A few of us got to form a union. What do you think, huh?
I'm ready.
All right, fine. No, this is a union where there are no dues.
That's right.
But a lot of obligations.
That's one of the unfortunate situations about this.
Well, congratulations, and to all the other, you tell the other members of your board, I congratulate them. And,
thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I talked to Bill Usrian as well as George.
Good.
I hope and pray that you can give us a few moments at the convention.
Where is that?
We're holding it starting July the 5th in Miami, Florida, and we're holding 5 days there.
The 5th to the 10th?
Yes.
Let me tell you, there's a major problem then, which is in. I'd do it in a minute, except for the fact that I will be traveling at that point. I can't tell you where or anything, and you wouldn't want to know anyway. But if you were a week earlier or a week later, I could do it.
No.
But I know you can't change your convention.
No, we can't.
Let me ask you of course, next year's election year, and that wouldn't be good. But is there any other kind of a meeting? Would you be having a meeting of your executive board or anything that I could do?
Yes, we will.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do because I know I can't do this. I got something I can't tell you about. You won't hear about it for 2 weeks, but then you'll know you and I talked about it, and you'll see the reason that I couldn't do it. But let me say that I'd like to come to the next meeting of your executive board, wherever it's if it's convenient. How's that? Is that all right?
That'll be wonderful.
And you can and I will send a message to this if it would be.
I'd appreciate that.
Worthwhile. And is there anybody else that you would like to have from our side? We could. Well, anyway.
Let me say this.
Any other cabinet officer?
Talk to one or two of our people, and then I'll get back with Mr. Bell.
How about John Mitchell? He's a pretty good fellow.
As far as he's concerned,
he's pretty good man.
Yes, he is.
Strong man.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
You know my feelings for John.
Yeah. Darn it, I just love to do this. It's the only time I tell you, from about the 4th of July until the 14th, I'm dead. And that's just one of those things.
Some things happen.
Right.
Things happen.
Right. Well, we'll send a message, and second, I'll come to your next executive board meeting if it's a time when we can both work it out. Fair enough?
Let me, maybe I can get our schedule of it, and before we actually set it, and then maybe we can adjust our schedule to yours.
Right, sure. If you could do that, that'd be great.
All right.
See, my problem is that between the July, August, September, and so forth is a difficult time for me. But if it fits in the right periods, I can do it. Like I'm going to do the BFW convention in August, but I'm just flipping out there, and then I have to take another trip. Okay?
Let's do it that way.
Fine.
Well, thanks.
All right. Well, congratulations and good luck.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Mr. President, Mrs. Rogers is watching an assembly on the grounds. It will take about 20 minutes.
Fine. No, there's no hurry. When it's convenient, she can call me.
Fine. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Mrs. Rogers, Mr. President.
Yeah.
President.
Hello?
Good morning, Mr. President.
Well, you're busy at Cornell, I understand.
Oh, just trustee meeting.
Oh, great. Oh, I see. Fine. Well, I had nothing on my mind, but except to call you. I was at Camp David yesterday and tell you that we were all talking about your party, and everybody just thought it was great, and they particularly thought you did such a fine job in your own remarks. Well, and I said, well, my God, you're smart. I said, you should be speaking all the time.
You're kind. Yeah. What you said was so nice, and the diplomats just loved it. Oh,
well,
you and Tricia are dear, I know, because it was something that she wouldn't enjoy, basically, to let the diplomats have that chance to meet, because it does mean...
Yeah, well, they had gone through and met her before, didn't they?
Oh, yes, in the line.
They did meet her. Good.
We were thrilled.
Yeah, the reason that we didn't come, I didn't think it was right for us to be in line. We'd met them all and go through the hamdam, and it put them front and center, which was the right thing.
We were so thrilled to have a chance to meet the two young people, and you could just see them practically rushing out to the cablegram to write home.
Right.
Just met her.
Right.
And your words made it lovely. We were thrilled.
You just did a great job, and we just wanted you to know it.
Well, you're a dear to call,
okay.
and I appreciate it.
Don't get brainwashed up there.
No.
Okay.
Fine.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Miss Woods, please.
Thank you, sir. Please.
General Hughes, please.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Yeah.
General Hughes, sir.
Hello.
Afternoon, Mr. President.
Don.
Yes, sir.
Has Connolly used the Sequoia since he's come back?
I can't answer that, sir. I don't believe he has. We've offered it to him.
Yeah. Well,
I could check and
make a special effort to see that it's offered to him.
Yes, sir, we do.
Sometime. I know we're going to use it Thursday night or something like that, or
yes, sir,
or something. But I mean, we're not. But offer it to them one night this week, will you, or next week?
Yes, sir. I'll do
follow
that.
up to be sure that he knows that we want him to use it.
Yes, sir. You know we do that for that in Camp David too. We
I know. I want him a little bit higher than some of the others, you know, because they all know and they'll be bugging you for it, and he will not.
Well, he's the one we push on this.
Good.
And we'll keep. And sir, thank you for that phone call to Betty last night.
Oh, well, sorry I couldn't be there. We were up in camp. We had to be at Camp David.
Yes, sir. Well, she really appreciated it, and I can't tell you how much I did.
Great party, yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you, sir. And we will push Secretary Connolly all the time.
I want him to go.
Yes, sir.
Please.
Mr. Bull, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Mr. Bull.
Yes, sir. Steve, I have the Kissinger at 3 and Peterson, and what I have at 3:30?
At 4 o'clock was going to be Weinberger, Mr. President.
Good. All right.
Do you want to see them in the EOB?
No, I'll be over there. Call Kissinger and Peterson. Tell them I may be 5 minutes later, so I've got to make a couple of calls here. And that we'll call them. Be 3:05, maybe 3:10.
All right, sir, fine.
But for them to wait till they get my call.
Yes, sir, I understand.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Please.
Miss Woods, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Ms. Heller? Yes, please.
Miss Woods, please.
Yes, sir.
I think Miss Woods is over on her way to see Mrs. Nixon. Have her call me when you reach her.
I surely will, Mr. President. Yes, please.
Miss Woods, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Hello?
Check to see whether, Jackson, whether he's a Catholic or Protestant.
Which,
Henry Jackson.
Henry Jackson?
Yeah. Or do you know?
I'm quite sure he's a Protestant, but I can double check it.
Just checking you got one of those directories. Yeah. Oh, well then.
Hello?
Yeah, I'd cut it some more then.
Mr. President?
Just a second. Do you want to do some cutting or want me to take another look at it? Maybe I'll take a look. I'll get back to you. No, maybe I'll read it more carefully the second time because I just thought of it last night. I just generally forget. Now, this Amtrak thing, let me just make that goddamn brief, That's a bunch of assholes. And they've got 30 minutes. That means an hour with that son of a bitch. Is it Spokey? Yeah. You're not in on it. Well, I understand that I was supposed to be in the camp. Would you tell us? I think it's so ridiculous. I don't like the concept, You get that to me. Hello?
Hello, Mr. President.
Yeah, what I was calling about this Symington presentation on Laos. Did we have anybody there that was trying to take up our side, or what? Or was there any preparation?
Well, of course, this was a secret meeting.
I understand.
We had people on the floor to take up our side, and we had put out a statement at noon. Pointed out that this was an operation that had started. Actually, it started in March '64, and but also dated back some of the other origins to a previous period. And
well, the point is, they ask about the disclosure on Laos and so forth and so on. As a matter of fact, we disclosed the whole goddamn thing.
That's right. We pointed that out too. In your March 6th
I noticed the case was saying, it calls upon the administration to disclose what we're doing. Well, God damn it, we've disclosed it. Seems to me that when we got somebody that can take the offensive on the thing for us, or what's been done on that? Anything? Who'd you talk to, Colson or who? McGregor?
I talked to Colson, McGregor, Lehman on my staff, who's been working there. I got together with Helms, Irvin, and Laird. And Laird's strong recommendation was that yesterday we just put out what we did, and that today we counterattack.
Well, there's a hell of a lot to. What are you going to counterattack about, Henry? What are you going to say?
Well, actually, it hasn't played so loudly.
Except in the Post, I guess, in Times,
On TV, it's disappeared.
The airplane crashes. Terrible thing, but they always dominate news, don't they?
That's right.
The other thing, did you get that final casualty figure, Henry?
It's 19.
It is 19.
Right, Mr. President.
And that's sure?
That is positive.
Now, I want you to pass that, if you would, immediately to Scally.
Right.
And tell him to develop a plan as to how we can get maximum impact from that. They should say the president again proves right, the president's casualties are the lowest. And so, what'd you say they were? This was
October 25th, 1965.
It really gets down, isn't it? For 5.5 years. Because we might as well crow on one, don't you? This is the first time it's been in the below 20, isn't it?
That's right. We had 116, but then they put in some missing in action that brought it up.
Fine, Henry. Thank you a lot.
Mr. President, there's one problem I want to mention to you.
Yeah.
Laird is planning a trip to Asia.
Yeah, we heard about yesterday.
And he's planning to be in Taiwan at the exact moment that I'm going to be in the other place.
Yeah. Wow.
And I began yesterday turning it off just in case he hits you.
Yeah. Why don't we just say that I'd like for him to go a later time. It'll fit into something we're doing with the Russians or some damn thing.
Well, and I put it also on the ground that you turned off Agnew.
Yeah.
And that this would create very bad feeling.
Right. Okay, good.
Right.
Good.
Yes, please.
Chapin, please.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Mr. President, it's Dwight. Do you take care of certificates, etc. for, on those things? I want to be sure that all those groups, I've told Haldeman this, but he's pretty busy. Like the Tulsa choirs, there were about 18 bands there and so forth.
Yes, we do the choirs and bands. We've added the police department per your instructions. And
all of those,
state police.
All of those will be covered on the Tulsa visit.
Yes, sir.
West Point visit and the rest.
Right, and we've been checking back, and they've been doing it.
That's routine, but it'll be very, very good to put out. Good enough, thank you.
Okay, sir. Yes, goodbye.
Curtis Tarr, please.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Tarr, Mr. President.
Good morning, Mr. President.
I just wanted to congratulate you on that fine picture. You look strong and vigorous and manly, and I thought, boy, I wouldn't want to tackle you. Yeah. I bet you've got a lot of good comments on it, haven't you?
Well, I've gotten quite a few, but it was a very sad thing.
Well, of course it was sad, but my point is there's only thing you could do. I mean, when somebody that's a little bit nuts, that's what they are. They were exhibitionists, basically. When they come charging at you like that, all you could do is throw it off, and you handled it with dignity.
Well,
you just stay in there.
Well,
never worry about. Many times, you're better known by your enemies than your friends. Okay.
Well, I appreciate the call.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Steve Bull, please.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
I have Mr. Bull.
Yes, sir. Is the barber here today? Do you know?
Yes, sir. Today is his day.
Mm-hmm. About 2:40, please.
2:40. All right, sir. Fine. Thank you.
Miss Woods, please. Hello.
Please.
Miss Woods, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Hello, operator?
Yes, sir.
Only if she's in the office.
All right, sir.
Yeah.
Miss Woods, Mr. President.
Hello?
Come over, UOB, please.
All right. Yes, please.
Hi, would you ring Marjacker for me, please?
Yes, indeed.
Thanks.
Butterfield, please.
Yes, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Mr. Butterfield, ready?
Yeah. Did you get that Brandt dinner list finished?
Brandt dinner list, yes, sir.
Yeah.
It is finished.
Yeah. Now, did you add business people? I mean, supporter types and so forth?
Yes, sir, we did. Well, I filled it in with Colson's suggestions.
Oh, good.
And we will fill those seats. Incidentally, there's 62 of those big chairs.
Fine. That's exactly what I want it done. For any of those in the future, we'll use the big chairs and we'll have 62 people.
Yeah.
And not so overloaded with state and all that sort of people.
Well,
This time we've invited a lot of them.
Yeah, it already had a head start on the government people, which is too bad. We had some poor guidelines, I guess, on that, but I think we rectified the situation.
Yeah, I understand. It was just perfectly right this time, but in the future, just had the usual few number of government people, because figuring that it's pure therapy and nothing is going to be discussed.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Yeah. All right. Fine.
All right, sir. Fine.
Tricia, please.
Thank you, sir.
Butterfield.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Mr. Butterfield,
I marked up some the housing statement, and
right.
Did you have it there, or is it gone to Erhlichman? He's here, and he doesn't have it yet.
Oh, he doesn't have it yet? Well, they were going to.
Maybe would you trace it off, send it over?
Between here and Price's, I'll get it right over.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Please.
Nixon, please.
Yes, sir. please.
Miss Woods, please.
Yes, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Mr. President, Miss Woods stepped out for just a moment, sir. Could she call you back in a couple of minutes?
Anytime.
All right, thank you, sir.
Hello.
I have Miss Woods now, Mr. President. There you are.
Thank you. Hello.
Rose.
Yes.
I was wondering the other day, did you get that letter off to the baseball player? Okay. Louis Aparicio.
Oh yes.
His name.
Oh yes.
Somebody remembered his name. Louis Aparicio was the one.
Aparicio, the one who had not. Is that the one who had not had a hit?
44 hits. Yeah, 44 times.
Yeah, and then he got a hit, you know. So we changed it just a little bit.
Well, did he get one before the letter got off?
He got one the day you wrote your letter.
Oh, I see. Well,
and so it was just changed slightly to which I'll send you a copy if you'd like to see it.
No. I just.
It was good saying you know.
Yeah. Fine.
I remember seeing it coming back in here.
Good. You might make a note that the letter to the little girl I wrote at 6:30 this morning.
Okay.
You might just put that in your file, and you might show the incoming letter and that to Dick Moore. I don't want him to publicize it but she might see, and he will know how to handle it so that he knows. Okay.
Sure.
Fine, because the poem is so good.
It really is. It's beautiful.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Ziegler, please.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Ron. I was noting in the news summary that Howard Smith put out a report with regard to the casualties last week. You know, indicating that the administration was putting them out 2 days early because they were so low.
Right.
What's the background of that? You know, and were you asked to confirm it or?
No, sir. I wasn't asked about it at all. I think probably someone leaked it. We did not issue it. Formally.
Well, then it'll still be issued formally. Huh?
Yes, sir.
It wasn't carried by the other networks. Huh?
No, I can call Howard and talk to him.
No.
But the background is we did not release it formally.
Yeah. Well, don't probe around too much. He put out 20, didn't he?
19 was his figure.
He put out. 19.
I believe as I recall,
the figure is 19, but the news summary said what?
Under 20.
The news summary
said under 20, right?
Yeah. Well, all right.
But it will be formally announced. The casualty list will be formally announced.
Well, I wanted to get
Thursday.
I wanted to get a damned adequate ride when it is announced. You know, it'll be if it is asked about it, just say.
I'll just say we'll announce that on Thursday.
Well, that we do not have the final figure.
Right.
The final figure is not known until Thursday.
All right, fine.
It'll be put out then.
Okay.
Will you handle it that way?
Yes, sir.
As I've told everybody around, told Laird and others, I wanted to be sure that this is properly played because it is a very significant number.
Well, it's the lowest since 1965.
Yes, and it's the first below 20.
Right.
That's the important thing.
Right.
Getting down to and bears out the fact that after Laos they came down as we said they would, and so forth and so on.
Right.
Of course, they've been coming down anyway, but this is a way that dramatizes it far more. Okay.
I took Clifford on a little bit today.
Oh, you did, yeah.
In response to some further questions on the POWs, I indicated that those who are making statements without concrete evidence are raising false hopes, and perhaps for domestic political objectives.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
That's what's moving.
Well done. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Ziegler, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
Secretary Laird refers to this today in his Air Force Academy speech, where he says it will be less than 20, and he refers to it as being down 90% and talks about the 1965. They released that text last night. I think that's probably where Howard K. Smith got it.
Okay.
But he indicates that they will formally, the official announcement will be made Thursday. So that's where that came from.
It was Laird that did it.
Yes, please.
Schultz. George Schultz.
Yes, Mr. President.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hi, George. I wondered if our friend Friedman, did he give you any report after his dinner with Arthur?
No, I hadn't. I saw him, but in a meeting. I went over to the Federal Reserve's consultants meeting, and it lasted all morning long. I didn't get a chance to talk with him individually. I will check with him later on in the day. I imagine he's on his way back to Chicago now. I'll try to get him on the phone there.
Well, it was good to see him. I think my reaction was certainly the same as yours. That he might just give Arthur exactly the wrong push at this moment, and I think he might have too much of an effect. What do you think?
Well, as you pointed out, he was basically saying things that Arthur agreed with, which is always makes it extra persuasive. In the meeting this morning, Milton's advice to the Fed was that they should follow something on the order of about a 4% policy for a while.
Well, that's good.
That 2% was sort of what was called for theoretically, but it would cause too much of a wrench, and they shouldn't go that far. Mm-hmm. Now, all of the other, there were a lot of other consultants around, Paul Samuelson and the group that basically follows that, and they were all complimenting the Fed on being so expansive and suggesting that they stay with it and just let it rip.
Yeah.
And so
what is your feeling? Your feeling
about it.
Your feeling is for, or I don't know. I'm inclined not to get Arthur ever to think in terms of going as far. I'm not quite as disturbed about the interest rate situation. I mean that 6 months up and then to take a bang next time. I just as soon have that luxury for a while.
Of what? Of keeping it down?
Yeah.
My own feeling is that this roughly 6% path is what they said was the right policy, and they ought to go to that and stay on it if they can.
Yeah.
And just not try to be too precise about correcting this bulge that has been there for about 3 months.
Yeah.
And the worst thing in the world would be another 3 or 4 weeks of downward movement, actual downward movement in the money supply, which they gave us in April, and which I think
affected the economy.
We had things going pretty well, and then it
seemed to nip it a bit. Something slowed it,
and I think probably that had at least something to do with it. So that's my own personal view. As among administration people, that is Connolly, McCracken, and company. At this point, I tend to be on the more moderate side. They're all would like to see things expand more.
Well, actually, George, let me first point. When do you think we ought to do a quadriad?
Well, I think that any time now that would be useful to do.
They're about ready.
Maybe early next week or.
Early next week, all right.
Or early later this week, or any time at all. I think that Burns has a note into you wanting to come and meet with you alone and report on the international monetary developments.
Well, I'll see him.
My suggestion when I was asked about it was that we have a quadriad meeting sometime very soon and try and substitute that.
Yeah.
So that you get the benefit of John's views and Paul's and the others who have been over at that meeting.
All right, fine. I've got Haldeman here now, and I'll tell him to set up a quadriad at a time that's convenient.
Yeah.
Do you think any time you'll be ready then, huh?
Well, sure. I think that we could do it tomorrow.
Let me ask you this: with regard to the situation generally, Friedman, I must say, is still he thinks there's a awful lot of steam in the boiler, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. And of course, I think that he is not as ambitious about what should happen to the economy this year.
Yeah.
As we are. And we've.
Well, he doesn't have that political fire burning on his tail. He also is not taking into account what the Congress may do that will be very, very foolish unless we do a little bit more. That's the other problem, George.
Mm-hmm.
You see, our real thing is if we were God and or a dictator without having to go to the Congress, then maybe we ought to just keep it at a certain level and let her go up next year. But we're not acting in any vacuum, boy.
That's certainly true. The Congress, as far as our budget is concerned, and that's another thing, the Samuelson and company were all saying we need a more expansive budget. And I just can't believe that they understand how expansive it is. And the Congress is adding to it daily. We had this action on the military pay yesterday.
Unbelievable.
And
that'll trim down a lot, of course, when they get to the House. But God,
well, I'm not so sure, Mr.
You don't think so?
The House, of course, voted roughly a similar amount. There are differences in the composition of the amount, so that it may be that it'll come down some. But my guess is it'll be up there pretty well. And I was suggesting to Ron Ziegler this morning, he was asking about how, at least I would suggest he comment on that
might be
one thing we have to be careful about is that you're having supported and promoted the volunteer idea, that we don't get maneuvered into being against that somehow or other by virtue of our position on this money. And that we talk about what we wanted, and our approach was to increase it 50% raise this year and another big one next year, but let's see what the 50% raise does to us as far as recruiting patterns are concerned, and then move on.
Well, the thing about this pay raise isn't it basically too much in the higher brackets?
Well, the House part was, and the Senate, the Allott action, was more in line with the Gates Commission report. So it's considerably better insofar as the distribution is concerned than the House.
I see.
And so one of the things we're doing is getting up some material for Clark McGregor to use with the conference committee to try to be sure that we get the Gates Commission type structure in it in the conference.
Right.
But anyway, going back to the budget part, there's the military pay thing. The education appropriation will be coming down probably $400 to $500 million over your budget, and that's on the base of about a $4.5 billion appropriation. The ag, our intelligence out of the ag appropriation committee is that they're talking about 700 over, and I think that there are going to be a whole series of these. And one of the reasons I was pressing Bob this morning that we ought to have a fairly thorough go-around on the budget and the economic situation very soon, so that we can get the whole picture in front of us
before we have to
for you to make your decisions on how we want to go on the accelerated public works, the public service employment, and all these other things.
Well, there's no question about the directions. There's no question about the leaning. The main problem I see is it's really a question of whether the increases affect jobs or whether they affect just, and that's, I know, is a gray area, but whether they just affect, goosing up what we've already got, blowing it up. I must say and we may just have to face up to it, George. I don't know if we do.
Well, there's tremendous pressure to just let her rip on the budget. And one of the things that I fear is that, let's suppose that next year we have a real boom going on, and I think we're almost certain to have that myself. That unemployment has come down, that is clear in the campaign, but that we also have two big deficits back to back on the order of 20 to 25 billion, and a definitely renewed inflation. Now, I think that people are going to tie the deficits to the inflation.
Well,
the question is, who's responsible for those deficits?
Well, as a matter of fact, it'll be a fair game, because when we were running in '68, we tied the inflation, the incipient inflation, to the deficits.
Yeah, but we didn't produce that deficit.
I know, but we blame them, so we got to expect them to blame us.
Right.
On the other hand, the deficit's going to be created, a hell of a lot of it is going to be created by the Congress.
Well,
we've got to make that case.
That's right, and that's really my point here, that we have to, now is the time to be laying the groundwork for making that case to the extent it can be made, and recognizing that when all is said and done, the people undoubtedly, they'll hold the president responsible for whatever it is that happens. So,
what about this? You mean, are you ready for this meeting yet, or this is earlier than the one you want to do at San Clemente then?
Well, it would be a somewhat abbreviated version of like the one we had in San Clemente last July.
You wouldn't have the whole damn cabinet in this, though.
Oh no, we just have a few people. John and some others, and I should think we also ought to add perhaps John Mitchell and John Connolly to this.
I see.
But then we would go on in San Clemente. I understand we'll have some time probably available in the July 8 or so.
Oh, yes.
And really come down hard on the fiscal 73 budget.
Yeah.
The way we did last year.
Yeah, we're planning that, of course. All right, fine.
Could I get you
Bob said that he had this in mind. He's trying to work out some time.
All right. Could I get you on one other thing while you're on the phone?
Sure.
You remember a month or so ago, I brought up with you Maury Stand's request for a mid-decennial census.
Yep. No. I don't think we want it, but now you think maybe we should because it might provide jobs?
No, sir. It wouldn't provide any immediate jobs at all. It wouldn't.
Yeah.
It would come in some years from now.
Yeah.
As far as
what the hell's the purpose of it then?
Well, it would give more. I recommended against it, and that's what you decided.
I did.
Maury is appealing that now, and he said he insists on getting a presidential statement about it.
Yeah.
Or review. We transmitted the decision to him.
Yeah.
And I believe that a certain amount can be accomplished by a much less expensive kind of sample survey approach. He rejects that, and he wants it all or nothing.
All right, fine, then he gets nothing.
He has to testify tomorrow, and I'm due to call him and give him a reading.
He either has to do that, or we're not going to go. Didn't you say it cost how much?
It would cost altogether around $200 million.
No, the answer is hell no.
Way up.
No, sir. I will, under no circumstances. It's not. We just haven't got that kind of money, and we've got to stop on something.
Yeah.
And he wants to come in with a smaller one, fine, but we just can't do it.
All right.
Just say that I'm going to have to veto some education bill, a lot of others, and I just don't see doing this. I don't think it's going to be. Tell him I just don't think it'll be consistent with the pattern that we're going to have to do on some of the congressional overspending for us to go down and ask for $200 million more for the census.
Yeah.
I just feel that.
Okay. I agree with that, and I'll
stick to it.
Okay, sir.
Bye.
Please.
Dr. Billy Graham, please.
Thank you. Please.
I want Governor Reagan, please.
Thank you. Governor Reagan, sir. There you are.
Hello?
Hello?
Ron?
Yes.
Hi, how are you? I'm just sitting here talking to Henry Kissinger. He just walked in, but I wanted to tell you two things. One, a little bit of good news, and second, to thank you for something. We've, you may have heard this, we have a very large federal shipbuilding program, you know, which has been approved. And we've been trying to look for a good place to put one, a contract. And Maury Stans and I were talking a few days ago, and we're gonna slug a big one into San Diego.
Oh, great.
Now, what I'm thinking of doing, it has to be done before June, is probably to invite back a half a dozen people, just maybe, you know, the shipbuilding guys and so forth and so on. I'll be, if we do it here, either that or, see, I can't go to California the latter part of June because I'm tied up here to announce it there. If we do it, I was thinking we'll be in touch with you. If you could come, it might be a good idea, because it will show that the administration, and we got some other plans too, you know, saline water and a few other things that we're going to try to throw into Orange County and San Diego. But this shipbuilding is a good contract. It'll start creating jobs almost immediately. So we'll be in.
That sounds wonderful.
It'll be in touch with you, and we'll be in touch with you. And
have mercy on me if, you know, I've got this damned.
You got a legislature
still going down here. So well, have mercy if I'm caught really battling down to the line.
Let me suggest this. If I can't do it that way, if I can't get the right people here, then what I will do is to have Stans go out. And do it in San Diego, but I think you ought to go down.
That'd be great, yeah.
Because, you know, San Diego's a good spot for us, and they have high unemployment because of that damned aerospace thing. Yeah, and so we're putting it in there. The second thing I wanted to do is to thank you for that really brilliant letter you wrote to the young Americans for freedom. I mean, that was really far beyond what you needed to do, but I do want you to know I appreciated it.
Oh, well, listen, I'm delighted to do it, and I think you'd be interested to know that the kids came back from there and from the state level here with letters that said that's fine with us, and that's the way we'll
take the leadership. I'll let Henry say hello to you here. You haven't had a briefing lately. I was going to say, if it does work out, that you could come. You thought you'd like another foreign policy briefing, but here he is.
All right.
Hello, Governor.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Pretty good.
I may be seeing you on Sunday. If I may go out there with Agnew.
Oh, wonderful. Well, wonderful. And that's going to be quite an affair.
Yeah, it sounds like quite a thing.
Well, fine.
And I look forward when you come east, anytime I can be of any service to you. I enjoyed our talk when I was in Palm Springs.
Well, thank you very much. I did too. Well, all right. I'd be delighted to hear the latest things from the front.
Good. Well, we have a number of fairly favorable developments now.
Good. That's always nice to hear.
But, yeah.
I thought we were interrupted there for a minute.
Yeah, no, actually there's a lot more going on right now. No, they just brought in a piece of paper for me to look at. Exactly, there's a lot more going on than meets the eye, and I think we've definitely turned the corner.
I remembered one of your earlier briefings about the position in the whole scheme of things of the president of Romania.
Right.
I noticed he turned up in Peking the other day, and I just wondered if that was just coincidence or if that was part of what's going on.
Well, let's just call it a coincidence.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's, you say we turned a corner. I presume we're talking about the Vietnam War.
Well, we've got a chance there now too, but we'd like to cool it and see how it develops. Our casualties this week, incidentally, were only 19, the lowest since October 1965.
Oh, that's great.
It should give you some indication of the trend of things there.
Yes. Well, I think I know what you mean. Yes. Well, that's good to hear.
Good. Well, I'll be talking to you soon.
All right. Okay. Look forward to it. See you this week.
See you this week.
All right. Bye.
Yeah.
Mr. Erhlichman, returning your call, sir.
Yeah.
There you are.
Hello. Hi, John. Yes, sir. I talked to George, and George said that he was wanted to get together with you and or me and maybe Connolly, etc. Do a little talking about budget so that we could get some thinking with regard to these bills and so forth. Mm-hmm. Right. And Bob Haldeman had the idea that we weren't going to be ready for a week or so, but I got a different impression from George. Are we ready to have such a talk?
Well, I'm not so sure, but what these may be two different things that we're talking about here. The thing that
he isn't talking about the July meeting. That's something else.
That's right. Yeah. Now, the thing that we were talking to Bob about this morning was putting on a full dress review of the present posture of the 72 budget and setting our legislative strategy based on that. Now, that should take, I would guess, a half a day or so. Yeah. I don't know, but what this conversation with Connolly might be something more immediate than that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're going to have a quadriad meeting, but that's something else. Well, on this, though, but would you want to have this full dress review of this before the San Clemente meeting?
That's right, because of the fact that we're going to get these two big bills down here in about 2 weeks.
Well, I might have that done in Maine. I'm going to go up there.
Well, that's fine, unless you want to just take the time off there.
No, I don't know. I can always use a half a day anytime.
Well, it's up to you. We should figure on doing it within 2 weeks, though.
Oh, I know. I see. Well, we could do it next week, first of next week, whenever you're ready. The other thing, though, John, I don't really want to look at that until you have done a little more thinking with regard to that proposition you were discussing about what creates jobs, and what does not create jobs. I just called Reagan on the phone and told him that we were going to give him that contract and that we would be announcing it later, and so forth, and that we'd want him to come if we had it in Washington or in San Diego, whatever the case might be, and he's delighted. But my point is that I think that kind of analysis is necessary because, for example, one thing that Maury Stans had been bugging Shultz on, and I turned Stans down on, was $200 million for a census.
Yeah.
No, God damn it, that's one. I mean, we just can't. You got to stop someplace.
Yeah.
And
well, I
said I put it straight to the State Shultz. I says, how many jobs does it create? And he says none.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't create. If it created, frankly, 15,000 jobs, it's worth doing. But if it's just a question of costing a lot of money, to hell with it.
Weinberger and I had Kunzig in today, and we went over possible building projects with him.
Good.
And we're going to hear back from him shortly.
Other things. There must be maybe some defense things we can do.
Right.
There must be other areas, but I think everything must be oriented in that direction. And
well, I would say
you
this.
Won't be ready for that.
No, but I would say that the legislative strategy on what we do about accelerated public works and public service employment and military pay raise and these other things need not wait for this, as long as we know that we're going to be able to do some job things as a collateral to the general statement you make about the budget and the deficit and so on.
Well, just so I know there are some job things and where they're going to go.
Well, I've got to whip to these fellows on this study, and we'll have it just the first minute we can.
Now, Kunzig isn't the only one that's got money, though. I mean, Transportation's got money.
Sure.
Romney's got money. All these people.
Well, and I'm gradually getting around to these fellows one by one. I'm going to have Romney over, and we're going to go into this whole business of what we can do instead of building Afro museums under model cities.
Afro museums. By golly, don't put it in New York City. You know what I mean? Put it in Rochester.
Well, that's it.
I understand New York State's all right, but not where it isn't going to help us.
We've got pockets, and we've got to hit those pockets.
Hit the pockets, exactly. There are pockets, and there are other places that aren't bad.
Right.
And okay,
all right, sir.
Then you talk to Bob. Then
I will. I'll call him right now.
I'm willing to have the meeting anytime.
Okay.
I'll even meet. Well, you won't be ready Saturday, will you?
Well, I'll let you work that out with Bob on the time and place. We won't know. Saturday's too soon.
All right, fine. Sometime next week.
Right.
Miss Tricia calling you. Sir.
Hello.
Thank you.
week. Right.
Miss Tricia calling you, sir.
Hello.
Thank you.
Miss Woods, please.
Thank you, sir. Please.
Would you ring the I think it's the Indian Treaty Room where the gifts are, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Hello?
Not getting an answer in the Indian Treaty Room, sir.
They've left there. Thank you.
All right, sir.